video lecture is about ELISA, its principle, types and applications. ELISA or enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay is a plate-based assay technique which involves an antigen-antibody interaction. It detects and quantifies proteins, antibodies and hormones. Enzyme conjugated antibody reacts with a colorless substrate, chromogenic substrate, to generate a colored product. Enzymes and substrates used for ELISA include alkaline phosphatase. Its substrate is para-nitrophenyl phosphate. Horseradish peroxidase. Its substrate is orthophenyl diamine dihydrochloride and 3,3'5'5' tetramethyl benzidine. And third enzyme is beta-galactosidase. This assay is performed in a multi-well plate. A multi-well plate for ELISA assay is shown. The solid surface of the wells of this plate is used to immobilize the antigen. Immobilization of the antigen may be carried out either directly or via capture antibody, which is itself immobilized on a surface. The antigen is then complexed to a detection antibody. Detection antibody is conjugated with a molecule amenable for detection, such as an enzyme or a fluorophore. The enzyme or fluorophore is also known as a reporter molecule. Here the basic setup of an ELISA assay is shown. This is a single well of a multi-well plate, and the solid surface of this plate is used to immobilize the antigen by immobilizing the capture antibody. A single capture antibody is shown here in black color. This capture antibody will be used to immobilize our target protein, which is antigen, and is shown with green sphere. This antigen will be recognized and bound by a detection antibody. Detection antibody is conjugated with horseradish peroxidase enzyme, and when the substrate of this enzyme will be added to this well, the substrate will be hydrolyzed by HRP, and as a result of which a colored signal will be produced, which will enable us to detect our target protein. But you can see here that in order to attach the horseradish peroxidase enzyme with the detection antibody to proteins, streptavidin and biotin are used. Now, why these two proteins are used? For conjugation of the enzyme with the detection antibody. Biotin streptavidin system, or BAS, is actually used to conjugate an antibody with the reporter molecule. The streptavidin protein is purified from bacterium Streptomyces avidini. It is composed of 4 identical subunits. Each subunit binds a single biotin molecule. Here a sphere is shown. It is labeled with S. This is showing the molecule of streptavidin, which it is composed of 4 subunits, and each subunit has the binding site for biotin molecule. This double ring structure is showing the biotin protein. Now, in order to attach the antibody with the streptavidin, the antibody is attached with the biotin molecule, and also the enzyme or the reporter molecules are also bound with the biotin molecules. Here you can see. So at one site of the streptavidin, the biotin molecule which is attached with antibody is bound, while at other 3 sites the biotin molecules attached with the reporter molecules are bound. Hence the streptavidin and biotin molecule system is used to bind a reporter molecule with an antibody. An antibody which is bound to a biotin molecule is known as biotinylated antibody, and an enzyme which is bound with biotin molecule is known as biotinylated enzyme. Now, why are we using the biotin for this purpose? Because biotin is a very small molecule, and its binding with an enzyme or with streptavidin or with antibody does not affect the biological activities of these proteins. In order to understand the basic principle of ELISA, we must have some know-how about the structure of antibody and about how the antigen and antibody interact with each other. As you are seeing here, a Y-shaped structure. It consists of 4 polypeptide chains. 2 longer polypeptide chains are shown with blue color and 2 shorter polypeptide chains which are shown with purple color. The shorter chains are lighter chains while the longer chains are the heavier one. This Y-shaped structure is showing antibody. The VH, H is showing heavy chain and V stands for variable while C stands for constant. Now heavy chain has 4 domains, VH, CH1, CH2 and CH3, while the light chain has 2 domains, VL and CL. The variable region is the domain are those regions of the antibodies which are different in all the different antibodies, while the constant regions are those which are always same in the different antibodies found in the serum. These two heavy chains are bound with each other through the Hing region, in which there are disulfide bridges which are connecting these two polypeptide chains with each other. Now this part of the antibody, which is comprising of one constant and one variable domain of each of the heavy and the light chain. This part is known as Fab fragment antigen binding. This part of antibody is used to bind with the antigen, as is shown here. The antigen is shown with green color. The site for the binding of the antigen on the Fab region is known as paratope. The tail region of the antibody is known as Fc region. This region is also very important for proper functioning of the antibody, as it enables the antibody to bind with the Fc receptors located on the surface of the complement system cells and the other immune system cells. And after binding through Fc region with the Fc receptor, the antibodies are enabled to activate the immune system. So this part is also known as effector region. The part on the antibody through which it binds with the antigen is known as paratope, and also there is a part on the antigen through which it will bind with the paratope, which is known as epitope. There are 2 types of antibodies which are used in ELISA. One is primary antibody, which is directly bound to the antigen through its epitope, and the other is secondary antibody, which does not directly bind with an antigen, but it recognizes and binds with an antibody domain. Therefore it is known as secondary antibody. In ELISA we may use a labeled primary antibody, that is an antibody which is directly attached with the reporter molecule. For example, an enzyme, these red stars are showing the reporter molecules. Or we may also use the labeled secondary antibodies, that is the antibodies which are secondary antibodies which are attached with the reporter molecules. Now the primary antibodies which may be used in ELISA may be monoclonal or polyclonal, while the secondary antibodies which are mostly preferred are polyclonal secondary antibodies. Now we will see the difference between the polyclonal and the monoclonal antibodies. These are the 2 primary types of antibodies on the basis of production from lymphocytes. Here you can see 4 tubular molecules in red color. These are 4 antigens. On the surface of these antigens you can see the triangular structure, spherical and green square shaped structure. These structures are showing the epitopes of the antigen, and these are 2 antibodies. Now we can see that these 2 antibodies are going to bind with the same antigen at the same epitope. Such antibodies which bind with the same antigen at the same epitope, that is they have high specificity to same epitope on antigen, are known as monoclonal antibodies. On the other hand, we can see there are 3 antibodies which are also binding with the same antigen but at different epitopes. For example, this antibody is binding at the green color epitope. This is binding with the triangular shaped red colored epitope. So such antibodies which are binding to the same antigen but at different epitopes are known as polyclonal antibodies. Now why do we use secondary antibodies in ELISA? due to their capability of inherent signal enhancement. Multiple secondary antibodies bind to one antigen-bound primary antibody, bringing additional reporter molecules to the antigen-antibody complex. The addition of a biotinylated secondary antibody followed by conjugated streptavidin molecule can be used to increase the signal further. Here you can see, if we use a labeled primary antibody, then only one labeled antibody will be attached with the antigen, and hence signal produced will be smaller. While in case of secondary antibodies, if we use labeled secondary antibody, more than one secondary antibodies can be bound with the primary antibody at a time, hence there will be more reporter molecules and more signal will be produced. Second quality of the secondary antibodies is that they prevent interference with the paratope. A primary antibody's antigen binding site paratope may be compromised by conjugation to a reporter molecule, reducing its ability to bind the protein of interest. Using a conjugated polyclonal secondary antibody to generate signal preserves the primary antibody's activity. Here you can see, if we are using the labeled primary antibody, then at the same time a primary antibody has to be bound with the reporter molecule and also with the antigen. So binding of the antibody with the reporter molecule before its binding with the antigen may lead to a slight change in the structure of the paratope, as a result of which it will not be able to bind with the antigen properly. While on the other hand, if we use the secondary antibodies attached with the reporter molecule, then the capability or the potential of the primary antibody to bind with the antigen will be retained, as they are not directly bound with the reporter molecules. Third point is that expanded conjugate options. Primary antibodies are typically available conjugated to a limited range of reporter molecules or may only be provided unconjugated, and secondary antibodies extend access to many different probes and increase flexibility in assay design, including multiple labeling protocols. The types of ELISA will be discussed in the next part of this video. Thank you.